Okay, part two, comparing rational numbers on the number line. Okay, so we're talking about negative and positive numbers, comparing them, ordering them, from either least to greatest, greatest to least. So let's say I've got, let's go ahead and fill this out. So we've got 0 in the middle, okay, and 0 can be anywhere. 0 could be over here. You can have more of a spread of negative numbers here and then positive. It doesn't have to be equal. For all intents and purposes, though, we're going to make them all equal. Try to give them the same amount on both sides. It's not always going to work out, but let's put 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Okay, I'm not going to label each one. All right, let's do one more. 1, 2, 3. Let's do 3 here, and then let's do 1, 2, 3, -3 here. Okay, so let's say I've got some numbers. Let's see, I've got, let me just go ahead and plot some out here. All right, that'll be good. So I've got +2, -1, and -5. So if I were to compare them, I would say that -5 is less than -1, and -1 is less than 2. Okay? So you could say -5 is less than -1, and -1 is less than +2. Okay? Another way we can do it, if I said put these numbers in order from least to greatest, okay, well, the least one would be in this situation, -5. So from least to greatest, let's write that down. You'll write down -5 is your least, because it is the least amount. -1's in the second least, and then 2 is your greatest amount. So from least to greatest, it's from -5, -1, then 2. Again, read it from left to right, and you'll get it right almost every single time. But what happens if we don't have whole numbers here? Let's say we have parts of whole numbers, okay, like fractions or decimals. All right, so again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Okay. Not perfect. I see some, that's kind of small there, but anyways, I'm getting a little picky. -1, 2, let's do, +1, +3, +5. Okay. So let's say I got a couple numbers. Let's say I've got -4. Let's say I've got a half, -1/2 here. Let's say I got 1.5 here. Let's pick another positive. Let's say 4. Okay, so I've got 4. I got 1.5. I've got -1/2. And I've got -4. So if I had those numbers and I said go from least to greatest, you would say, well, -4 is less than -1/2. -1/2 is less than 1.5. 1.5 is less than 4. Okay? The real struggle, you're not going to really have too much of a struggle here. Everybody knows that 1.5 is less than 4. The struggle is going to be really between these two. People are going to have a hard time thinking that -4 is less than -1/2 because -4 looks bigger. And it does look bigger, but again, you have to think in terms of, would you rather owe $4 or half of a dollar, 50 cents? What would you rather owe? Well, I'd rather owe 50 cents than $4. So again, this is larger because it's further to the right. Anything to the right is going to be greater than that number to the left. Okay? So from least to greatest, it's going to go -4, -1/2, 1.5, and then 4. That's from least to greatest. But let's say we have a decimal. Let's say, okay, so this is -4. Let's say I've got a, let's say this is right here, -3.8, 3 8/10. Well, again, if you're comparing both of these together, so -4 compared to -3.8, again, that looks bigger. It looks like 4 is bigger than 3.8, but it's not. -4 is further to the left on the number line than -3.8 is. Therefore, -4 is less than -3.8. It's to the left of it. Okay? Less than, it's to the left of it. like 1.5 is to the left of 4, it's less than. Negative 1/2 is left of 1 1/2, it's less than. So that's this lesson here, and there's a couple of them that deal with this. It's going to be a little challenging, but again, I think if you think in terms of your number line, the further you go to the left, the smaller you get. Okay? And the more you go to the right, the greater you get. Okay? And so if I have a really, really big number like negative 100, and I compare that to, let's say, negative 5, okay, obviously I'm going to want to owe $5 and not $100. And negative 100 will be way down that number line. So this is less than negative 5. Okay. So this is part 2 of rational numbers on the number line, comparing them and ordering them. Part 3 is coming up, talking about absolute value and how to compare them.